Welcome to Coloroid LPO Solutions YouTube channel.
Hi guys, so I always start with a disclaimer. This is not legal advice. I'm only providing you with legal information. So today we'll be looking at contracts. So you have startup businesses, you have businesses that are already established. You also have individuals that want to take on certain people as their personal assistant, as doing some form of caregiving services or cutting their lawn, gardening, maintenance, all of that. So persons want contracts for different reasons. So a lot of time persons are wondering, why is it that a contract is important? Listen, a contract is important to secure, for one, on one end, the person providing the services. It secures you so that you can say, oh, see, we have a contract. You said if I do this, that, you will pay me X and Z, however much, whenever I'm supposed to get it, all of that will be there in the contract to secure you, your money, your time, your effort, and your labor. So the contract is there for that. It's a legally binding document, right? Can be between several parties. So it is an agreement among these people. So it can be among three people, four people, five people, really doesn't matter. But it is a binding agreement. So, and as I mentioned before, it's very important for, as I mentioned before, for the person who is providing the services and for the person who is receiving the services as well. So, for the person receiving the services, you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your business. So if it is that the person is not showing up on time, the person is doing things that in your termination clause in the contract says that these are the things that would warrant termination of this contractual services or the employment services, then you have every right based on that section of the contract to terminate their service, right? So these are important things to secure, as I mentioned before, on one end, the person providing the services, and on the other end, the person receiving the services. Both are important. Contracts are important. When going into business, it is very important to have contracts. Absolutely important to have contracts. All right. So let us look at, for example, employment contracts. What are some of the things that you need to put in an employment contract? So there are a lot of things that goes into a contract. The standard thing, of course, you need to have the address of both parties, of all the parties. You need to have the address. You need to have the names of the persons, the entities, all of that should be there in the preamble section, which is just the introductory section of the contract, right? So all that information should be there. And then you also need to list the terms of the employment arrangement. So you need to list what time the person comes to work, when they leave work. You need to list the salary. You need to say to the person, this is how much you're being paid, and this is when you will be paid. All of those things should be included in the contract. Certain leaves as well. So determine the sick leave, day leave, all of those things, right? So put in relevant acts or legislation that speaks to the leave. And as mentioned before as well, you need to also include a termination clause. You need to include a confidentiality clause as well. Confidentiality clause is very important to protect your business, to protect your personal information, to protect your business information from being disclosed. So all of those things are important. It is also important to have a non-disclosure agreement. Um, if you want to have as well a clause for like a non-competing clause, so that they don't compete or have a business that competes with your business, then that clause can also be added into the contract. So these are some of the things, these are some of the terms, these are some of the clauses that should be included in an employment contract. So you must say when the person is supposed to report for work, the hours the person is supposed to give towards the work, the salary the person will be getting, as well as the functions. You should really provide a job description. You must also have in the contract the title that of employment. So whether the person is a personal assistant, whether the person is a legal assistant, whether the person is a customer service representative, the title or the position should be clearly stated in the contract as well. So these are some of the things that should be included in an employment contract, right? You also have contracts for what we call in law independent contractors. So independent contractors are not employees. These are people that offer their services to other businesses or people. So it's different because they carry their own tools, they use their own tools, they explain to you, I am able to get when, or they would have an agreement with you. When do you need this to be done? They would explain to you, okay, this type of work can be done, or the usual time frame for this work should be between X time to X time. So it's contractual. It's a work that have a set time period, a start time and an end time. So it would have a commencement date and it would have a termination date for the services that they're offering to a particular business or even to a person. So they would have what is called an independent contractor status. So you're not working for anybody, you're working for yourself and you're offering your services to someone else or to a company. So you have an independent contractor status. And for those contracts, there are certain clauses as well that must be included. So of course, as mentioned in the preamble section, as mentioned, that's the introductory section, you would have all the parties' information there. So the address, the name of the independent contractor, the address of the independent contractor, the name of the business that you're contracted or you are supposed to provide those contractual services to, and the address of that business as well. So those are some of the things. So that's just the introductory part. Then you have the terms. So you must have in your term the start date, and it's important as well to list an end date. Some services, example for legal services, if it is that you're doing like a litigious matter, when you can't determine how long it takes, because it all depends on what the court decides and what happens here or there and back and forth trial and all of that, you can't really put a date to it. So in that case, you don't need to put an end date. You can just say in the contract when the service comes to an end, right? So of course it would be termed differently, but just for you to understand the gist of what I'm saying and what it would really look like. So that's something that you can include in the contract. So, but have a start date. Have a start date, have as well a payment method, the payment amount. You must list the payment amount. You must list the services that you're offering to this particular client. So you're going to list all your services that you are offering at this moment for this particular contract that you've received. These are the services that you're providing. This is the date that the services will start. And this is the payment amount or compensation. And this is the payment method. So the payment method, say they're paying you $1 million. That's the compensation. And the payment amount is that you pay half a deposit to commence the work. So you pay 500,000 to commence the work, and the remainder is paid after the service is completed. So you would explicitly say that and explain the half deposit, and then the remainder will be due when the work has been completed. And then you can say that the the first payment, which is a half deposit, is due once the client receives an invoice, right? So once the client receives an invoice, that's when the payment is. You always have on your invoice as well the due date for payment. That's very important. Always sign your invoice. Always have an electronic signature as well, so it's easier for you to just get that done. Put it, do not send your electronic signature as is on the invoice in a Word document or in an Excel format. Always convert it into a PDF format, and then you can send your client. All right. So these are some of the things that you need to look out for and think of and have in mind really when entering into a contract with anybody, with any business, with any company, right? So, of course, so I spoke about the services, the payment method, the payment amount, and other services includes confidentiality. So you need to explain that you will not disclose anything, any information that is provided to you from the client, because the client needs to feel secured and confident that you will not disclose their business. They need to have a trust with you. And so even for the client's perspective, this is something that should be included in a contract to somebody that you're that you're receiving services from. They should have a confidentiality clause in there, and you need to review that very clearly to make sure that it satisfies and suits you and your business. You need to ensure that, right? And for the other party who is providing the services, as I said before, this allows the client to also trust you. So you need to have that confidentiality clause to give confidence to your client that I can be trusted. So you prepare that contract, and they see that, oh, you have a confidentiality clause and this and that. He stated, yes, they look at it and say that is important, including a confidentiality. Okay, you're thinking about me trusting you or me having confidence in you, that I can give you, I can give you this contract, and you will provide the services, and you provide it in a professional way, and you will deliver in a professional way. So those are some of the benefits that of having a confidentiality clause. So from both ends. So the receiving party has explained your benefit, and the person providing the services, I explain your benefit as well. So confidentiality clause is important. Other clauses are important as well. Termination clause is important, even with the independent contractual services that you're offering. So there are certain termination clauses that can be listed. God forbid the death of the independent contractor. Of course, would automatically end the contract. God forbid. And there are other things as well. As I said before, for the person providing the services, it's important to let the other party who is receiving the services feel confident that you will do the work professionally, and they need to see you as a professional. So when they see your contract, they're like, okay, yes, this person is definitely a professional. So the termination, so some of the other termination clauses are, if it is that the client themselves no longer wants the service because of certain reasons, give them that opportunity, give them that chance to decide whether or not they want to continue with the service. So certain things can be used, and I'll go further with it, as if it is that you're interested in getting a contract, then you can book a consultation in using our paralegal services, and we will guide you in terms of how to prepare a contract and the different clauses that you can use. So another important clause not to forget is your independent contractor status. You need to ensure that there's a clause that explains that you are not an employee to the client, you are an independent contractor. Very important. So these are some of the things that are important in drafting a contract, whether it's an employment contract or it is an independent contractor type of contract. And this video is long, people. I didn't even realize that it was going on for so long. This probably needed to have a part two. I may just cut the video in parts because this is a very long video, but it's very important. And as I said before, if it is that you are interested in having a contract, be prepared. Probably you're a business that you just want to outsource that aspect, the contractual aspect of it, drafting employee contracts, then we are able to do that. You can book a consultation with us using our paralegal services, and we'll undertake that type of services for you. You can also be a person who needs that assistant as well, whether you're taking on somebody as a personal assistant or a caregiver. We also do contracts of that nature, and so as mentioned before, you can book a consultation to use our paralegal services to draft that contract. And so that's it, guys, and I will be coming out with more videos to give you guys a better understanding of certain legal tips and tricks and things you need to look out for in different areas of the law. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.